It is the 19th day of December 2014. Many thanks for joining us on Ebru Africa in brief. It is always a pleasure to have you tuned in, and of course, we do hope you are well from wherever you're watching us from. My name is Akisa Wandera, and we have a number of stories lined up for you, and we'll jump straight into it. Insecurity, high cost of living, and unemployment have been featured among pertinent issues affecting Kenyans in a survey conducted by Ipsos Kenya. Now, almost 70% of Kenyans say insecurity is the most serious challenge they are facing.
Do their political alignments actually influence the way they answer that question? We don't think so. But we would actually have to go on the ground and ask people, look at their incomes, look at how much malnutrition or famine there is, and so on and so forth across these regions, and we have some other slides to reinforce that. But to the extent that economic hardship creates, especially among young people, receptivity to radicalization and other forms of antisocial behavior, I think these figures give all of those concerned something to worry about.
Now, as the country gears towards achieving Millennium Development Goals 4 and 5, that is to reduce child mortality rates and improve maternal health, the United Nations Population Fund has donated an ambulance to Wandera County, which is ranked poorly among counties with high maternal mortality rates.
It is the fastest materializing promise that has been given to us. Within less than a month that the UN resident coordinator promised with UNFPA and the team that visited, we have an ambulance, and it could not have come at any better time than now, considering we have lost about 53 medical personnel who had to desert their workplace because of the insecurity that happened in Wandera.
Let's now cross borders. The dangerous job of collecting and burying the victims of Ebola continues in Sierra Leone. The operation continues as the government started house-to-house searches in the capital, Freetown, to find hidden cases of Ebola.
The West African country has repeatedly quarantined hotspots and once locked down the entire country to ferret out the sick. But infections continue to rise, and the disease is now whipping around Freetown and its surroundings. Health workers don protective suits when visiting houses of the latest victims. A former World War II cemetery is now the central Ebola burial site. Bodies are buried there if there is even the slightest chance they could be victims of the disease. On Wednesday, President Ernest Bai Koroma imposed new restrictions on movement and gatherings in a bid to stop the disease's spread. Christmas and New Year celebrations have been cancelled, and the president has also banned public gatherings during the holidays and movements between districts. People, however, do not have to stay in their homes during the 14-day operation. Ebola has sickened around 18,500 people. But infection rates have begun to stabilize or decline in Guinea and Liberia, the other two countries hard hit by the Ebola crisis.
Now, Tunisia is putting adequate measures before the runoff voting for the presidential election to avoid possible violence and clashes. The runoff will take place this Sunday.
The two presidential candidates can only send one representative to each polling site, while representatives can't go into the polling rooms. This is according to the president of Tunisia's independent higher authority for elections, Mohamed Chafik Sassa. The two candidates, Beji Said Essessi and Mosef Mazouki, as well as their supporters, have been urged to accept their final election results and avoid conflicts when preliminary data is published. Election committee will enhance security measures so as to avoid violence. Independent Higher Authority for Elections is optimistic that it will be able to announce the preliminary results on December 22nd, a day after the voting. The first round of voting in the presidential election was held on November 23rd, when leader of the Nida Tones party, SSC, won 39.46% of the votes, and independent candidate and current Tunisian President Mazzouki received 33.43%. As neither of them won an overall majority in first round, a runoff vote was required. The presidential election is the first to be held in Tunisia after a political revolution, and it was also the first time the Northern African country has undertaken universal suffrage. A total of 5.28 million residents registered as voters during the first round of voting.
8 children have been killed and a woman injured in a suspected mass stabbing incident in Australia's tropical northern city of Cairns. Police have not made any arrests but said the injured woman was assisting with their investigations.
Police say they were called to a property in the city of Queensland, informing them of a woman with serious injuries. 8 children were found dead inside the home in what is suspected to be a mass stabbing. The deaths come with Australia still reeling from the siege of a cafe in Sydney, which ended on Tuesday morning, leaving the gunman and 2 hostages dead. Several police and governmental investigations are underway into the police operation and how the gunman, Haron Moniz, was able to carry out the attack.
Now, coming back to Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta has signed the Security Laws Amendment Bill into law. The bill was passed yesterday by Jubilee MPs in a special session characterized by name-calling, exchange of blows and disorder.
We must all remember that we are still at war and still vulnerable to terror attacks. I therefore call upon each one of us to remain vigilant and share any information that would aid in securing our country with the relevant authorities. May peace dwell within our borders during this festive season. I thank you, and God bless you. God bless Kenya. Asante sana. Thank you very much.
Well, that story wraps up our bulletin. Many thanks for joining us on Ebru Africa in Brief. Do join Kamene Goro in the evening for a more comprehensive bulletin. I am Akisa Wandera. Enjoy the rest of your day and keep it Ebru Africa TV.